Have you ever looked at someone's life and thought, man, I wish I had that? Or, oh, I'm behind. By this age, I should already have that in my life, whether it be married, have kids, whatever it is. Today's video, we're going to kind of dive into the dynamics around comparing ourselves to others and the dangers that could happen from doing that in our lives. So, I'm going to start by sharing something that happened to me recently this past week. I feel like this happened to me so much in the past week, and that's why I'm choosing this topic. I don't know if y'all are having the same type of week, but for me, some things happen at work, and there's a lot of women there that have children, and I don't have kids. So I have a dog, which I love, and you've seen in my post, Bella, but I don't have any kids. And sometimes it makes me feel a little bit awkward, especially when work conversations focus. I work with a lot of women, mostly women. I think we have like one male on our whole team. So they're always talking about their kids, which is totally great. I love and I'm super supportive of that, but sometimes they don't know what to talk to me about, or it just makes me feel a little isolated or a little off, because I'm not one of them, right? And as a woman, I've also been told in the past, like probably about a month ago, I was at an event and a woman came up to me and asked like who my kid was, and I was like, oh, I don't have any kids. And she goes, oh, not yet. Like it's just like this expectation, this societal expectation that I'm supposed to have kids, right? So that's something that I personally have been dealing with. I guess I didn't even realize that thing happened a month ago, but it's kind of been swirling in my life for the last month, I'll say. And it can be really awkward and it can make you feel a certain kind of way. Like for me, sometimes it feels a little isolating, because there's this expectation and it makes me feel apart from or separate from the group. And that's something that can be really dangerous if we focus too much on that. So, in today's video, I really want to dive into how to get out of the comparison trap and really just focus in on ourselves and our own journey, because our journey is not meant to look like everyone else's. And let's get into it. Firstly, I want to point out that social media is really distorting our version of reality. Back in the day, back in my heyday, I'll say, we didn't have social media, believe it or not. I'm aging myself in this video, and I'm okay with that because with age comes wisdom, right? But we didn't have it. And now that social media is everywhere all the time, and we're spending endless hours scrolling on social media, we're really only seeing people's highlight reels. And maybe you've heard that in the past, but we're not seeing people's real life. So you may see something like maybe someone's really successful at work and they have a certain position, but you don't know their backstory. We don't know each other's backstories, right? We don't know how they grew up, what their family life is like, their own insecurities, because we're all human. So none of us are perfect. So I'll start there. And so when you're looking at a highlight reel of someone in your life, even if it's a family member, maybe someone has something that you see and you're like, oh man, I wish I had that. You don't know the inner struggle sometimes that they're even facing in your own family. So it's really important to think about that, is we're just seeing one element of something and we're not integrated into their everyday life, and to keep that at the forefront, because social media really is just a highlight reel of what people's positivity and wins are. Not all the time are we seeing that truthful, vulnerable space where they're feeling down or depressed or anxious themselves, or feeling like they're missing out on something, because we all compare. So even the people that you think are achieving the most and looking the best, they actually have things going on too, where they're comparing themselves to someone else. So we're all in this together, is the first thing that I want to say. Secondly, I want to talk about the dangers of comparison, because there are some dangers that come with this. I mean, think about how you feel when you compare yourself to another person and you're feeling less than, or the opposite. Maybe you're feeling better than. That's the opposite, right? But there's these two extremes. Either you're like judging them because you're feeling better than, or you're feeling less than, and it's creating anxiety and depression within you. So, one is the emotional danger because of how it makes you feel internally, right? So it's shifting your nervous system in not a great way. So that's the first thing. The second danger is that it's taking you off course from your own authentic life and your own purpose and path, because we all came and incarnated on this earth with a purpose in our hearts and a plan that God has for us. So your own journey is very unique to you and you only. No one else has your journey. So if it takes you off or away from that, that's actually dangerous, because it's time spent away from what you're intentional life is and where you're supposed to be, if that makes sense. And going off course is not good for the, I guess, collective consciousness is what I want to say, because you're here for a reason with your own purpose. And if you're stuck in this comparison trap and you're kind of like excluding yourself over here, it's pulling you back from what you're actually meant to be doing. And that can be really dangerous, not only to yourself, but to the planet. Like, think about the opportunities that might be missed. Like, think about some of the greats in everything. You can think about music, you can think about authors, you can think about any genre. What if they were just stuck comparing themselves to everyone else and they never wrote that amazing song or that amazing book that changed someone's life? So that's something to keep in mind also. And the final thing is, when you're comparing yourself, you're actually outsourcing your sense of self worth. So you're giving your power away to someone else instead of owning and standing in your authentic truth. And that's really dangerous, because you as a person want to feel empowered and feel in control of your life. And when you're comparing yourself to others, you're putting the pen in their hand to your life, to your book of your life. And we need to take that power back and really come back to our authentic self and feel that we are truly in control of our lives, because we are. Okay, I wanted to talk about some examples of comparison, and I'll just name three big ones that most people compare themselves. One is body image. So, how often do you find yourself looking at someone that's more in shape than you? Maybe they're taller than you. I don't know. It could be anything, but related to body image, that's like one comparison trap that we fall into. Another one is marriage. And society says we should be married by a certain age. We should always have that partner by our side. There's a lot around marriage. So if you're single, not dating, you might feel a little isolated there. And finally, the last one is something I mentioned earlier, is about having children. And if you don't have children, what that looks like to society, because we're all supposed to have a certain thing. And I just thought of a fourth, but it's around money, because there's that whole keeping up with the Joneses thing, right? So it's like, I want to have the house with the white picket fence, and I want to have all the brand names, and I want this car. That's a huge thing that's kind of taking over now, which really, I mean, I have my own personal opinion, but I won't insert it here. But that's another thing, could be around money. So here are some ways that you can come back to yourself if you feel like you're kind of getting warped into that comparison trap. The first is to look at the accounts that you're following on social media, on all platforms like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. There's so many others, Facebook. If there's anyone you're following that's making you feel less than or even better than, just reevaluate those relationships to those accounts, because you really want to feel good. I've surrounded all of my social media to be around people, places, and things that make me feel good and inspire me. I follow so much motivational thing that it's hard for me to ever get stuck to be like, oh my gosh, like I'm not good enough, because they're all like, get up girl, do your thing. So like I've really wired myself. So like, look at your environment on social is the first tip to kind of recenter yourself into your own authenticity and stop comparing yourself to others. The second thing is to really look at what is triggering you. So out of those four things I just mentioned before, is there one area that's really like triggering for you? And if so, I want you to either journal about it or just think about it, because there's a reason why that's sticking with you and making you feel a certain way. So body image, for example, maybe you see someone that's really fit, in shape, weighs less than you do, has themselves really put together, great clothing, and you get upset. Either you are judgy towards them and you're like trying to put them down, or you're saying, gosh, I wish I had that, or I feel so behind because I'm overweight, or this, that, the other thing. Think about, why is this triggering for me? And then think about what your values are. And if it's in alignment with your values, is this true for me? So, like, these are some things to kind of like, you want to make sure that, if there is a reason for it, maybe you want to be more in shape, but you're not taking action. And that's what the actual thing is. So then you just kind of bring it back in house, right? You take your thoughts back and you say, okay, so I'm realizing I want to be more in shape. Let's make a plan to get there. And then you put together a plan. Again, you're taking your power back from that situation, right? So you're not letting that external person take away your power. You're taking it in and you're doing a real, authentic evaluation of, why do I want it? Or do I want it? If so, why? And how can I get it? So that's the second thing. The third way to take back your power is to celebrate where you are and what you have. Think about where you are in your journey. If you're on your way to something, I mean, this channel is all about goals. So I'm assuming y'all have goals at this point if you've been watching. Think about your goals and where are you within that, right? Because everyone's like, maybe there's multiple people on a fitness journey, but yours is your own. And maybe you're here and someone else is here. You can't compare someone's middle to your beginning, right? So think about where you are, celebrate where you are in the process of your life, and also write a gratitude list of all the things you are grateful for in your life, because this kind of also recenters you to say, my life is kind of cool. Like, I don't need to be that because that's for that person. This is my journey. Again, you're taking everything from out there and bringing it back into your own heart and into your own being. And finally, I want you to think about what makes you uniquely you, because you, again, are here for a purpose and a reason. Maybe just list out like some things, maybe 10 things that make you who you are, that people can't replicate. Because like a lot of times in life when people are jealous or envious or something like that, it's because they can't replicate what you have. So I'm sure there's people in your life that are looking to you because you have unique abilities. And it's so helpful to list those out. And even just starting with like 5 to 10 things that are unique about you can really, again, help you recenter, refocus. So let's also talk about 3 different affirmations you can use whenever you catch yourself in this comparison trap. One of them is, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. My path is not like anyone else's, and I trust the timing of my life. I am exactly where I need to be. My path is not supposed to look like anyone else's, and I trust the timing of my life. And just saying those out loud when you catch yourself and you have the awareness that you're comparing can really just kind of be like, okay, wait, okay, I'm going to stop that. I'm going to cut the cord to comparison and I'm just going to bring it back to myself. Okay, so now I'd love to hear from you. I love for you to share in the comments one thing that's unique about yourself, because I want us to all celebrate each other, right? This is a community. What's one thing that you love about your life that you want everyone else to know about? Because I think it's really important to celebrate. And also feel free to share this with someone else that might need it. We're all in this together, so feel free to share. And again, if you have not subscribed, I invite you to now. Click on the subscribe button below and ring the bell so you get notifications when new videos are posted, or just give me a little thumbs up and just let me know how you're feeling today. So again, have a wonderful week, and I hope some of these tips and tricks help you, because we are surrounded by social media and you are in the driver's seat. You get to control your life, what's around you, what you allow in your space, but never outsource your self-worth to anyone, because you are worthy just as you are. And I want you to remember that as you go into your week this week. Thanks so much for being here. Love y'all. Bye.